now you all have heard of Zika. Is it in Belize? What are the risks and likelihood of contracting the virus? Janelle Mencias tells you more.
Zika, it's the word that has been taking the internet and media by storm in the last few months. From social media news feeds to online articles, radio and television broadcasts. There's one thing for sure. The world needs to be concerned about this mosquito-borne virus. Regionally, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, has leapt to action as Zika poses major threats to the Caribbean region. Dr. James Hospitalis, Executive Director of CARPHA, spoke of this and the regional response to the virus.
The major issue at the intersessional that we're discussing is the threat of Zika virus to the region. This mosquito-borne virus, along with dengue and chikungunya, represents a significant health and economic security threat to the region. We have to get a lot more serious about the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads these viruses. I think the heads are seized of that, particularly the threat to tourism in the region, and they agreed to, I haven't seen the final output, but they've agreed to a series of strengthened measures in countries and as a region to tackle this problem.
Though not new, its presence and rampant spread throughout the Americas and Caribbean by the Aedes aegypti mosquito has raised the eyebrows of health officials everywhere, prompting officials from the World Health Organization and Center for Disease Control to take fast action to address the issue. But just why has ZIKV garnered such attention?
Initially, it was thought to be a fairly mild dengue-like illness, and then from Brazil came the realization that two rare conditions in the population were being greatly increased. One is called microcephaly, or small deformed head at birth, and the other is a neurological problem called Guillain-Barré syndrome. So this is not a disease associated with high fatalities, but you have these two rare conditions which are greatly increased, which could mean a lot of costs for governments down the line, as well as the cost of if tourism takes a downturn. So we're focusing our efforts on detecting it in new areas, investigating complicated cases.
Recent articles have also speculated that microcephaly may be linked to the use of the larvicide pyriproxyfen in Brazil. We asked the doctor's thoughts on this, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, people are saying it's larvicides, it's a genetically engineered mosquito. So people tend to come up with crazy ideas at the beginning of a problem, and then as the research advances and then the body of knowledge solidifies around the problem, they realize that these were red herrings.
So far, 5 CARICOM territories, namely Barbados, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, and Suriname, along with other territories within the region, have identified incidences of ZIKV. Of those, only Suriname has identified cases of microcephaly with its incidences of ZIKV. However, it is still too early to confirm a link. And while unlike other CARICOM nations, there have been no identified cases of the virus in Belize to date, it is important to remember that 3/4 of those affected are asymptomatic. Dr. Hospitalis tells us how this has been addressed.
We set out our protocols in the region to support countries to detect when it came into different places. With the realization that there are these additional complications, it's changing our whole thinking about who would be eligible to be tested, who's going to pay for this, what about the public policy and ethical issues around it. So we're in the middle of reconsidering what our testing support is going to be to countries to help manage the epidemic and to manage people who are affected.
Even with much research left to do, Dr. Hospitalis says that CARPHA has put simple protocols into place for the CARICOM region, appealing especially to more vulnerable groups.
From the CARPHA point of view, we are stressing that people should stop mosquitoes breeding in and around their house and avoid being bitten. Particularly if you're a pregnant woman, if you've got chronic health problems, you don't want to get bitten by mosquitoes and get one of these conditions that could make you really very unwell. And so pregnant mums, in particular in the first trimester, using repellents, sleeping on a bed net, taking all steps to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes. This is key. also staying in tune and listening to when and if this problem arrives in your country and where it is in your country so that you're able to take precautions.
Don't get bitten, protect yourself, keep a buzz. For Belmopan Weekly, I am Janelle Mencius.